What up, Don Mafia? Welcome to yet another edition of the Don Mafia Report. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my 5th day in a row where I have posted a video. Daily uploads up in this. And so let me tell you what, guys, this has been a very fun experience. I've never really gone down the whole daily upload train, but I figure since there's so much Bills news coming out, I really don't mind. Say that you are appreciative. The best way to thank me is simply by smashing the out of that like button. That's really all I ask, and I will continue to put out as much content as possible. So let's go on ahead and let's just dive right into business. The Buffalo Bills, they had a relatively light practice today, according to reports, and apparently they're going to have a day off tomorrow on Saturday and then a full-fledged practice again on Sunday. So stay tuned for a more in-depth report. However, there are still a couple of things that I figured that I did want to mention, especially pertaining to some of the players that had to sit out today. The status on the Josh Norman injury, an interview with Sean McDermott, and then us being introed into some of our most recent defensive linemen in Quinton, Jefferson, and Mario Addison. There's definitely a lot to talk about, and I can't wait to dive headfirst in. So, Don Mafia, right before I dive into that, I do want to remind you that I did get signed by a online news network called Fan Network, and we started streaming on Twitch, but then we started getting a shit ton of feedback being like, yo, Dan, why the hell would you take a network full of YouTubers and not stream on YouTube? And you guys were absolutely right. We were dumbasses for going on Twitch. So we decided to make an exclusive YouTube channel. So from now on, all of our streams are going to be on our YouTube channel. I'm going to link that in my description, in my pinned comment. Do me a favor, subscribe to that channel. I believe tonight we are going to be doing Fantasy Football Fridays. There's going to be a lot of information pertaining to your leagues this year. You're not going to want to miss it. It starts streaming at 7 o'clock. Don't miss out. And then Saturday, we're live streaming the Fan Network Fantasy Draft. Jaboy just so happens to be a part of that draft. So say that you want to root me on to my for sure victory this year in 2020 fantasy football, that I highly recommend subscribing so you don't miss a damn stream. Don Mafia, really just starting off from the injury perspective, we did have a couple of new names added to the list of people that ended up sitting out, and those names included Pat DeMarco, who's been out for several days, John Feliciano, obviously, Tommy Sweeney, obviously. Robert Foster is still recovering from that concussion. A new name is AJ Klein, and then Tremaine Edmonds. I'm not going to lie to you, I had a slight heart palpitation once I read that name off of Twitter, saying that he was sitting out, but apparently it's only a sore hip. He shouldn't be out for too long, thank God. And so then Josh Norman, we will dive into a bit more details on that specific injury here shortly. And then Ed Oliver finally ended up coming back to practice. He must have nursed that sore hip, and he must be pretty much ready to go. He was limited during today's practice. And then, of course, there were veteran rest days, and those veterans included Stephon Diggs, Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, and Jerry Hughes. So, like I said before, it sounds like practice today was wildly light, and they're just about to go full force on Sunday. And so, all right, so I feel like this is probably the biggest story that we need to discuss, and that just so happens to be, in my opinion, our for sure starting CB2, Josh Norman. So yesterday, Josh ended up picking off Josh Allen, and then Stephon Diggs chased him down. He stripped the ball from him, and then Josh Norman fell down, and apparently it turned out to be a hamstring injury. News legitimately just broke that he is going to be out indefinitely because doctors and team physicians have no idea the severity of this. So we're going to have to keep a close eye on this, especially since there's such a heated battle between him and Levi Wallace for CB2. Now, this is something that's going to be expected, especially since there has been very little of whatever you want to call an offseason between OTAs, between preseason training camp. Like, this whole thing's a clusterfuck. So, unfortunately, there's going to be several soft tissue injuries throughout the season as these guys get acclimated back to playing football. So, let's just hope that this is not serious. Let's hope that Josh Norman is still able to come back and at least get a couple of more reps at practice so we just don't throw him into week 1 right to the Wolves. But then again, he is a veteran and he is super familiar with Sean McDermott's system. So say that that were to happen, then I wouldn't be worried. So let's just cross our fingers for a speedy recovery for the dude. And so right after that injury, Sean McDermott came on and spoke to the press prior to practice today, and he did end up discussing a couple of topics. Number one, which has been a heated debate for a very long time, what the hell are we going to do with Cody Ford? And so is he going to be an offensive guard or is he going to be an offensive tackle? Now, once John Feliciano ended up going down, we ended up picking up Brian Winters, and I was super pumped about the acquisition. And so until I saw Mr. Epinesa run through him like there was nobody's business, like completely bullied him, embarrassed him. If I was Winters, I would have retired after that clip surfaced online. So now it seems like McDermott is shuffling around Ford to see whether or not that Cody Ford could legitimately make the transition to an offensive guard. And to be honest with you guys, it wouldn't be out of the question. We've been talking about this since when he was drafted back in 2019. So anything could be possible. That's something that Sean McDermott is planning on making a final decision by within the next couple of practices, so we'll just have to stay tuned. And so next observation just so happened to be about Zach Moss. We're so excited about our rookie running back this year, and Sean McDermott just so happened to say that Zach Moss is an excellent pass blocker. And of course we know that because dude is strong as shit. And it's funny too because so many people, especially there was this narrative that a lot of Buffalo Bills content creators were saying, oh, Zach Moss is about to be the Thunder to Devin Singletary's Lightning, myself included. I thought the exact same thing. But according to what reporters have been seeing during practice, Zach Moss might have a bit of lightning himself. He's showing a lot of similarities to Devin Singletary as far as his vision and his ability to escape to the outside and make people miss. We might just have a more exciting backfield than we initially anticipated. And so last but not least, we ended up having a couple of interviews from some of our new additions to our defensive line, going to be Mario Addison, who you guys know that I'm absolutely super high on, and then Quinton Jefferson, of course. And so some of the highlights from Mario Addison's interview was the fact that, yes, indeed, he is pumped to add Cam Newton to his sack list. He was a former teammate right of Cam Newton for a good while, so I honestly don't blame him. And it also helps the fact that he plays for the New England Patriots, and Mario Addison can just add him to his sack list. We're completely fine with that. And then right on top of that as well, Mario Addison did end up saying that he really feels the camaraderie and the love that is in the Bills locker room. From a practice perspective, he's saying that he loves coming to work each and every single day. And it just goes to show you the beautiful culture that Sean McDermott has created right at One Bills Drive. And so last but not least was Quinton Jefferson. In my opinion, probably the one statement that made me the most excited today. While he was getting interviewed, he mentioned that the Buffalo Bills defensive line might be the best that he's ever been a part of. And that says a lot, especially since the dude man spent a season or two in Seattle. And you all know that Seattle's defensive line historically has been absolutely shut down. So if something is coming from Quinton Jefferson, who has experience with being with elite defensive lines, that's something to be absolutely pumped about for Bills fans. Well, hey, Don Mafia, that's going to have to do it for the 5th straight daily edition of the Don Mafia Report pertaining to training camp. I certainly hope you enjoyed it. Do me a favor, smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, say that you've never heard of me before. If not, my name is Dan Mitchell. I regularly put out Buffalo Bills videos. If that's your cup of tea, welcome to the family, baby. And besides that, guys, let's go Buffalo.